Hey everybody, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Space Saga, available over on Amazon.com. So if you want to support the channel, go check me out over there. I always appreciate people reading my books and giving me feedback and giving me money. So any books that you want to buy will be appreciated. And speaking of books, let's talk about a franchise that is based on a fantastic book, aka Jurassic Park, and the Jurassic World franchise over at Universal. So we had some big news from the series kind of overseer, director, producer / writer Colin Trevorrow recently that tells us that some old favorites are returning to the Jurassic franchise. This is from The Hollywood Reporter by Richard Newby. How Jurassic Park cast could shape Jurassic World 3. Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill are reuniting for the first time since the 1993 film. Yes, that's right. The original trio, the so-called Luke, Leia, and Han of the Jurassic franchise, are reuniting in the third installment of the Jurassic World franchise. Last night, at a special screening of Jurassic World at the ArcLight in Hollywood, director Colin Trevorrow announced that Jurassic Park's Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill will reprise their respective roles as Dr. Ian Malcolm, Dr. Ellie Sattler, and Dr. Alan Grant in Jurassic World 3. The trio joins Jurassic World stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. While Goldblum, Dern, and Neill have all reprised their roles in the franchise following the original 1993 blockbuster, Trevorrow's film will mark the first time all three will be reunited in the same film. Plot details are still under wraps, but Trevorrow's recently released short film Battle at Big Rock, written by Jurassic World 3 screenwriter Emily Carmichael, teased the repercussions of the dinosaurs being set loose in the world at the end of Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. With the return of the three iconic characters, Jurassic World 3 has the potential to be the biggest film in the franchise yet. Yes, people, that's right. They are pulling a Force Awakens or Disney Star Wars, where they're getting the band back together. They're taking the iconic trio from the original movies and bringing them back. Hopefully they do a better job at it than Star Wars did. Unfortunately, Star Wars really dropped the ball on the original characters. But we're not talking about Star Wars here. We are talking about Universal and the Jurassic franchise. When Jurassic World reinvigorated the long-dormant franchise in 2015, it did so with new characters. While fans expected a cameo or post-credit scene featuring either Malcolm, Sattler, or Grant, the only character from the original film to return was B.D. Wong's Dr. Henry Wu. Universal's bet on new characters paid off, and Jurassic World landed a record-breaking opening weekend on its way to $1.672 billion worldwide. That's with a B. When the sequel, directed by J.A. Bayona, came around, Goldblum's Malcolm was featured heavily in the film's marketing, but his appearance, his first since The Lost World Jurassic Park in 1997, amounted to a cameo and no dinosaur interaction. Despite the sleight of hand, the film made $1.3 billion, and Malcolm's appearance held the potential for a return, alongside more familiar faces to show up in the next sequel. As much as the Jurassic World series has become the story of Pratt's Owen Grady and Howard's Claire Dearing, it would be disappointing if Malcolm, Sattler, and Grant weren't brought in on the action now that the dinosaurs no longer exist in a contained environment. Trevorrow, who has said that this sixth entry in the franchise will return to the science thriller roots of the first film, confirmed that Goldblum, Dern, and Neill's roles will be significant. So they're not going to pull what they did in the last film and just have them be like quick throwaway cameos. Apparently they're going to be very involved in the story. While we know where Malcolm stood on the dinosaurs in Fallen Kingdom, believing that their extinction was the only natural course, it will be interesting to see where Grant and Sattler stand. The last time we saw both characters was in Joe Johnston's Jurassic Park 3. In Dern's brief scene, Sattler was shown to be married to an employee of the State Department and the mother of 2 children. She seemed to have largely moved on from her life as a paleobotanist. Grant, on the other hand, remained invested in dinosaurs despite suffering some post-traumatic stress from the incident on Isla Nublar, and led a tour group to Isla Sorna, which of course resulted in its own series of consequences which made up the bulk of the film. It will be interesting to see how all three returning characters are brought together along with Owen and Claire and how they react to Hammond's technology being used to perfect human cloning. While there's an undeniable element of nostalgia that makes these characters return so enticing, there's also the fact that their inclusion could pave the way for larger questions to be asked in the franchise. While Jurassic World has utilized both the action and horror genres, the inclusion of these characters suggests a more inquisitive look at what dinosaurs and Hammond's technology means for the future of the world. Given Jurassic Park filmmaker Steven Spielberg's insistence that Trevorrow direct this third film, it seems like a safe bet that his influence will be felt. Whether this means even deeper cuts into the previous films in the series, like what happened to the dinosaurs on Isla Sorna, or the return of other familiar faces like Tim, Joseph Mazzello, Lex, Ariana Richards, Kelly, Vanessa Chester, or Sarah Harding, aka Julianne Moore, remains to be seen. While Jurassic World 3 may be the biggest installment we've seen from the franchise yet, don't think of it as a finale. Universal, which has stayed out of the superhero business, not by choice I'm sure, has found billion-dollar success with the Fast and Furious and Jurassic World franchises. If the former is any indication, then the return of familiar faces and a wider scope for Jurassic World 3 may be setting the stage for spin-offs, television series, and novels, all set within the larger Jurassic World continuity. The Age of Dinosaurs is back again. Now, it was a big, long article. I'm sorry I read through the entire thing for you guys, but I wanted to kind of set the stage here. But the thing I really want to focus on is this last part of the article. Now, Universal has been desperate for for franchises, basically. They basically kind of set the stage for their own cinematic universe based off of their classic horror monsters with what was to be known as the Dark Universe. And that attempt basically imploded on them with the failure of Tom Cruise's The Mummy. And that was probably also Alex Kurtzman's fault as well. You know, they had big plans to roll out a series of movies based on the classic horror movie monsters that Universal owns the rights to, and that was just a disaster and a half. And the only thing they really have going for them in recent times was the Fast and Furious franchise. But now they have reinvigorated the Jurassic Park franchise after the third movie kind of fell flat and people kind of got over it. Now, basically what this article is telling me is that Universal is planning to shift its focus from a dark universe, cinematic universe that deals with classic horror movie monsters, to a Jurassic Park cinematic universe, or a Jurassic cinematic universe. And they're setting the stage, and I think this third movie is going to be the one that really kind of, sets the stage for the expansion of the universe, to allow them to create content that spins off from Jurassic World. Like it said in the article, they could do TV shows, they could do more movies, they could do video games, they could do all types of stuff just based off of this setup. And it looks like Colin Trevorrow is being groomed or being kind of positioned to be the Kevin Feige of the Jurassic franchise. It just seems to me like, he made this short film as kind of like a fun calling card piece or a proof of concept or something to get people excited about the upcoming Jurassic World 3. Now that he's not involved with Disney or Star Wars anymore, he's coming back. He didn't direct the second Jurassic World, but he's coming back for the third one. Apparently at Steven Spielberg's insistence. And he's getting to do the thing that he wants to do with it. And that means that depending on how Jurassic Park 3 plays out, we could get a series of spin-offs set in this world that all interconnect with one another. And Universal is going to be launching their own streaming service, and they're going to need content for it. And if they can have a big franchise that they can create content for the streaming service with, they're going to go after it. And it seems like Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are going to be primed for that type of thing because it's one of their most popular franchises. And we're talking about cartoons for kids, but we're also talking about dramatic TV shows for the adults. And even all that is going to be fueled by even more entries into the film series. So I think what we're seeing here is the beginning of the Jurassic cinematic universe, kind of shepherded by Colin Trevorrow himself. Now, personally, I'm not as excited about this news as some other people. Like, I'm a fan of the original Jurassic Park, but I've never been a super fan of it. I thought Jurassic World was decent, but I did not like Fallen Kingdom. I thought it had a lot of story problems, and I'm not a big fan of Trevorrow quite yet. I mean, like, I think he's a good enough guy, but as a director and specifically as a writer and a storyteller, I've yet to be convinced that he's all that he's being hyped up to be. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that this bit of stunt casting of getting the original Trinity back together for the new Jurassic movie is a good thing. It's definitely going to draw on the nostalgia, draw on the fans of the first film like myself to want to go see it, so long as it's not another fake out like it was in Fallen Kingdom. And if Trevorrow is to be believed, all these actors are going to have a very significant role to play in the movie going forward. And I'm also kind of interested to see how they're going to set up this proposed cinematic universe that they're going to obviously be doing. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think I'm right that they're positioning this as a cinematic universe? Do you think Colin Trevorrow is going to be the next Kevin Feige for Universal? Let me know in the comments. And as always, for more movie, TV, news, and analysis, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support. This is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you in the next video.